What's up? Dan here from CodeNoobs. And today we're going to talk about APIs. If you're getting into development, you've probably heard the term APIs a lot, and it is very confusing at first to wrap your head around what they actually are. So let's take a look at them and explain this concept today. So APIs are crucial for building modern web applications. The term API stands for Application Programming Interface. You can think of this as a bridge that allows two applications to communicate with each other. So let's start with an API analogy, and this is a pretty popular one when you're trying to understand the concept. So imagine you're at a restaurant, you're the client, you look at a menu, place an order, the waiter, the API takes your order to the kitchen, the system prepares your food, the waiter then brings your food back to you. So if you think about this again, right, you, the client, you make a request, the waiter takes that back to the system then sends a response, namely your food, and brings it back to you. The waiter brings it back to you. So the waiter then facilitates communication between you and the kitchen without having to interact directly with the kitchen staff. So APIs like the waiter, they provide a service that others can utilize. And this is really powerful for developers because we can extend our applications and projects with stuff that other people built simply by connecting to them through an interface like an API. So why are they important? Interoperability, they allow different software systems to work together seamlessly. Efficiency, developers can leverage existing functionalities without reinventing the wheel. Scalability, they enable applications to grow and integrate new features easily. And innovation, by exposing services, APIs allows others to build upon existing platforms, fostering innovation. So a couple types of APIs. You have web APIs. These are used for web services and access via HTTP protocols. So like RESTful APIs, they use standard HTTP methods like get, post, put, and delete. SOAP APIs use XML for messaging. There's also operating system APIs. These allow software to use OS or operating system resources. Examples would be like the Windows API or the Mac OS API. You have library or framework APIs. These provide functionalities within a programming environment. So think of like jQuery API or the React API. And then you have remote APIs, which are accessed over a network. Some examples of these were like cloud services like AWS or Azure. So when APIs work, you have the request response cycle. So the client makes a request to the server via the API. The server processes the request and sends back a response. There's endpoints. So you have URLs that represent specific API functionalities. And then we have the HTTP methods. So you have get for retrieving data, post for to send data to create a resource, put or patch, this is updating an existing data, and delete, which is removing data. Normally with APIs, you're going to integrate into projects. You're probably going to be using the get retrieving data the most because you're probably trying to retrieve some resource to integrate into your project. So for instance, just a couple of quick examples, you could get the current weather data from a weather API. So imagine like an endpoint API weather.com current, you use the get method, and the response would be JSON data containing temperature, humidity, etc. for that specific time and region. Social media integration, so you could embed a Twitter feed on your website using the Twitter API. A popular one is payment processing, so using PayPal or Stripe APIs to handle transactions in an online store. Or maps and location services, integrating Google Maps API to show locations within your app. These are all great examples of how you can extend your projects without having to do all the work of creating something somebody else already created. APIs have various types of security and authorization built in. The principal one is API keys. So this unique identifier is used to track and control how the API is used. And you'll find that with many of them, if you're doing development, you'll usually have a certain tier of how many calls you can make for free before you start getting charged. OAuth, so protocol that allows users to grant limited access to their resources on one site to another site without having to expose their credentials. So basically, the importance of security and auth is that it protects data and ensures that only authorized users can access certain functionalities. If you're getting started, a couple of recommendations is read the documentations. So always start by understanding the API's capabilities and limitations because this will determine whether or not it's a good fit and what you can actually do with it. There's also various tools for testing. It's always smart when you're integrating a new API into a project to test it, make a couple calls to see what the responses look like. So there's Postman and Insomnia. These are user-friendly interfaces for testing API requests. You can download the software and install it on your computer. They're very easy to use. There's also curl, the command line tool for sending HTTP requests, and Thunder Client, which is a VS Code extension for testing API requests. So there's a lot more out there. I'd advise you to check it out, explore, and see what you can find. So some takeaways: APIs are essential. They're a backbone of modern interconnected applications. Knowing how to use and create APIs empowers you to build more dynamic and powerful applications. And continuous learning. The world of APIs is vast. Keep exploring different APIs and integrating them into your projects. When you're working with APIs, be sure to experiment. Try integrating a simple public API into your project, for example. And don't forget to join the discussion. Share your experiences and questions in our Facebook group or YouTube channel. That's it for today, a brief explanation of APIs. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more web development tips. Thanks a lot.